Hey kids, I missed a day yesterday. I wanted to send one out yesterday to you guys, but yesterday was a really crappy day, just mentally really crappy. So I kept coming up with excuses as to why I'll do it later. And I thought, okay, well, I'm going to hockey tomorrow night, or last night. And I figured I'll feel better when I'm coming home, so I'll do it then, because after a good skate, I'll feel better. And you know what? I just didn't feel better. I just felt like crap. So I skipped a day. And sometimes I guess that just happens. I don't get many of those where the whole day is just crappy, but it is what it is. So today I just hopped out. I came into work. I worked for a little bit, and then I just hopped in the ice tub. So I was in there for 4 minutes, and now I'm on my way to go play hockey again. So there you go. My kids are girls are at school. Kobe's homesick. Cameron's, I don't know what Cameron's doing today. So there you go. So I'm gonna go play some hockey for a couple hours and get back to work. Another shift later today. There you go. So one of the things that I wanted to talk a little bit about, maybe I don't know, I wanted to think about this more, but I'm going to start today anyway. I wanted to think about it a little bit more and summarize a few things. And one of them is Jordan Peterson's book, 12 Rules for Life. And then maybe we'll go over a second book, the next 12 rules as well eventually. But maybe I'll do this one another day as well, because I would like to actually put a little thought into these. But anyways, the first rule in his book is something like stand up straight with the shoulders back. I might not have worded that correctly, but that's okay. It's the same idea. And it sounds pretty simple, right? Just stand up, keep your shoulders back. Just do it. Oftentimes growing up, we would say, keep your chin up and your stick on the ice. Same kind. Actually, I made T-shirts for the boys, for Cameron, Luke, and Kobe one year, like years ago, that said, keep your chin up and stick on the ice. But keep your shoulders, stand up straight, keep your shoulders back. I guess part of the idea there is there's a lot of stuff that's going to get thrown at you in life, and you've got to just face it. And you can't cower away from it. You actually have to just face it. And that's part of what it means to stand up straight. Accept the world, accept the things that are thrown at you, accept your responsibility, and the things that you need to do to face these things and to overcome them. If you are standing there and you're crouched forward, shoulders are rolled forward, your head's down, it's almost like you're accepting defeat. And that's not very good. And there's research that shows that, if you stand up tall and you've got your shoulders back, that releases different hormones that would be more consistent with having confidence and activating the systems of the brain that will allow you to be more confident and to be more capable, both physically and mentally. Now, whether it's the capability which gives you the confidence to stand up straight with the shoulders back, or whether it's the posture which influences the brain, it could go one way or the other. It could go both ways, right? Your mental attitude that affects your physical posture, or your physical posture which affects your attitude. I would probably be more inclined to say that there's a degree of both in there. But nonetheless, what you display is confidence. You display capability when you stand up. You got shoulders back, and you walk with a good stride, and not moving in a timid fashion. I think people see that, and people recognize that, and they also recognize weakness. I mean, we're designed to I mean, all species are like that, really, is to being able to see how people move and interpret the meaning from that. Now, people, we don't do that maybe as much as we think, but it's definitely maybe in the animal kingdom is easy to spot that one out really easily. Let's say you're like a pack of wolves and you want to take down, like, I don't know, a caribou out of the herd. It's like, well, if they're all running and they're all running fast, the caribou that is, who are you going to go after? How do you mark the person, or not the person, the caribou you want to kill? Well, it's going to be the one that's different than the rest. And they're probably not looking for a different coloring marking on the caribou. It's going to be the one who maybe has a little bit of a limp, or maybe the stride is shorter. They're moving differently that is distinguishable from all the rest. Now, that usually equates to something else as well, right? Either the caribou, the animal, is injured, or they're older, or they're sick, right? And so that means they become an easier target for the wolves. Now, who does that benefit? Well, you could say that benefits everybody, right? It benefits the wolves because they've got dinner and it's the easier catch. But you could also say that it also helps the herd of caribou. I put in any animals here we're talking about. I just picked caribou for some reason. But that would also take that animal's genes out of the gene pool if that one is sick, if that one's injured. Now, of course, sometimes injuries happen because of, maybe stepped in a hole or something, right? And that's really unfortunate. But maybe they've got some type of deformity or immune problem or this or that or whatever it is, and now you're basically sloughing out the weak so that the stronger survive. Now, we're not talking about this so much when it comes to people anymore, right? We're not talking about only the strong survive, so to speak, in a physical sense, but it's still a matter of capability. You have to show you're capable. You have to, by doing so, that will give you more opportunities. But then you also still have to deliver, right? So you still have to not just show that you're capable, you have to act and produce those capabilities. But nonetheless, when you are facing a struggle, you're going to be able to overcome things easier and better. Not to say it will be easy, but better if you actually do all these things that are helpful in that process, including standing up tall with your shoulders back. Sometimes you have to act the part until you actually can make it. Think about practicing in sports, right? If you're playing a sport, you might practice this play, this sequence of events. When this happens, you do this. When that happens, you do that. And you practice and practice not just the individual skills, but your strategies and all of these things that you work on, so that when you get to a game situation, you don't have to think so much. You already have these patterns ingrained into your system, into your muscle memory, and that would, I guess, be similar with a hardship, right? You know that if you stand up tall, you keep your shoulder back, that's going to help your brain health a little bit. It's going to help your hormones a little bit, and that will give you a little added extra benefit in your struggle. I don't know. So in his book, I know he talks about lobsters. This is one of those ones where I think people make fun of Peterson for lobsters, and I don't know, I kind of want a lobster tie, I think. And that comes from this same idea where if two lobsters are fighting with each other, now he just used lobsters, it could have been any crustacean, but it could have also been any mammal as well. And he used the idea of a crustacean simply because the DNA of a crustacean isn't too much different even than a person, and that these are patterns that go way, 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 way back in evolutionary history. And I've got a little issue here with lanes. This isn't good. Somebody's going to think I'm a real jerk, but that's life. And that was sort of his point of using a crustacean, is that these are not new patterns. These are things that have always been around. That if you've got two people who may be getting a scrap, well, it's like a positive reinforcement for the one who wins, in the sense that doesn't mean that they can go around fighting everybody, but it does mean that they become, well, more dominant, which means that it's easier for them to protect their territory, and in sometimes being able to not even have to fight just because they display more dominance. And so the lobster that wins the fight will actually stand up taller and will move in a way that is more dominant, and the one who loses will basically physically cower away. And then that also makes that lobster an easy lobster to pick on next time there's a fight. And you probably even saw that in the playground when you're kids too, right? It's the same kind of idea. The kids who get picked on and who kind of just take it, they become easy target for somebody who's maybe a bully, which also is, definitely not a good thing to do. You never want to bully anyone. That's just nonsense. But that's their kids, remember, so they probably haven't learned a lot of things. That's the whole process of life, is trying to learn something. But if somebody is walking and moving with more confidence, whether it's in the playground or whether it's at your work or whatever, when you're an adult, you're less likely going to make fun of that person. And whether they're less likely going to do it. And then if somebody does try it, and somebody actually does display confidence in the face of the person who's trying to do the bullying, then the one who's standing and receiving but displaying a better posture and better movement and better confidence, it's less likely that that person will get bullied again. I'm not basing this off of anything other than little thoughts that are coming to my mind, as traffic is really stupid right now. So anyways, that's the story for today. Maybe we'll expand on that another day, but stand up straight, keep your shoulders back. Sometimes you got to just try and smile even when you don't feel like smiling. Sometimes you have to decide that even though things are crappy, I'm going to do the best I can with what I got. Now, I'm not suggesting that you shouldn't also take the time to talk to somebody who you need to talk to, whether that's a psychologist or a good friend or something like that, because if we have problems, I'm not saying we need to just, put them to the side and forget about them. No, you have to deal with it as well. You can't just forget things. Part of being responsible is being accountable and dealing with stuff. So definitely do that. But you don't want to be a victim either, I guess is what I'm saying. And there's sometimes when you definitely have the full right to be a victim in certain situations, for sure. But then the question is how long are you going to allow that to be the case? Do you want to be a perpetual victim or not? Harder questions, I guess. Harder things to really think about and to unpack and to apply in the various situations of life. But they're principles to think about, principles to apply and live by. So, having said that, like I said, yesterday was a crap day. Not saying today's great, but, hop in that ice tub, spike that dopamine just from the ice tub, which does it. It's great for recovery muscles too. Also, since I played last night, and get back after it. Back after, playing for the biscuit. That puck is mine. I'm going after it today. get a few snipes, a few sellies, and yeah, maybe I'll talk to you again a little bit later and tell you how it all went, just because, well, I didn't do one yesterday. Have a good day. See you all later. Ciao.